Welcome everyone to the secret of lasting weight loss. Okay, so we are going to start right now. And if there's something that it's true is that if you are overweight, it's because you are overeating. Okay, so I think that right now everybody would agree on this, and also weight loss industry. But the truth is that studies show that only 4% of the people who loses weight reaches to maintain it. Okay, so there's really something missing there. And this is what we are going to talk about today. Okay, so just let you know, if you are overeating, you are overweight, and why overeating, sorry, it's a problem for you. It's because you are thinking all the time about this, about the things that you have eaten, what you are going to eat, how much you have eaten, all the things that you cannot eat, and so on. Okay, it's because you're exhausted from trying things that only work temporarily. It's because that you are feeling like you are eating against your own will. It's because you have tried willpower and it doesn't work. Or it's because you think that you could solve this problem, anything else would fall into place. Okay, so if this does really resonate with you, this masterclass is for you. So what you're going to learn today is the top 3 reasons why we overeat and how to manage them, the secret to lasting weight loss and how to start applying it right now with ease, and an essential tool to lose weight and to create the life that you want. Okay, so I know that your time, it's important for you. Let's use our time wisely. So turn off your mobile, close all your open tabs, and tell your family that you're going to be occupied more or less the next 45 minutes. Okay, if you have any question, you can write it in the chat. I am going to open a space at the end of the presentation to discuss a little bit about all the questions that you have. Okay, so stay tuned until the end because I have something to offer to you. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to present. I am Laura. I am a retired family physician and a certified life and weight loss coach. And during my 15 years of medical practice, I have seen the consultations that I have seen the most were all those people who were suffering from chronic diseases, which is cardiovascular diseases, hyperlipidemia, hypertension, stroke, or heart attacks, some kinds of cancer, or diabetes as well, syndrome, metabolic syndrome as well. So all the things that we have, we are hurting all the time. These are what we call chronic diseases. So diseases that needs treatment forever. Okay, and all these diseases are coming from our modern lifestyle. Okay, that we have implemented in the last 40 years. Okay, and what is also causing this modern lifestyle, it's our obesity. Okay, and what I have seen is that most of those patients that I had who had these chronic diseases were also overweight or obese. Okay, and then when they started to lose weight because they started to do a diet or take some pills or shakes and whatever, they have tried everything, almost all of them start to lose weight and all the diseases that they had start to improve. But the problem was that almost all of them were gaining their weight back after some months and all their diseases were worsening again. So it was really this relation between obesity and their chronic diseases. So I told myself, okay, so if this is coming from our modern lifestyle, it means that it's preventable. Okay, so those that still don't have those diseases can avoid this by changing their lifestyle. And those who have already those diseases, they can reverse them. Okay, and only with losing weight, we have directly an impact on all those, the risk of having all those diseases. Okay, so There's where I found this study who tell that only 4% of people were reaching to maintain their weight loss. So I told myself, this is much more about mindset and about emotions as well, because most of my patients were emotional eaters. So when they start to have their normal life, circumstance of life, and they were feeling stressed or they were feeling grief, whatever, if they were used to use food to compensate this, that was the cause of their gain weight again. Okay. So I started to study coaching. I made the certification, and honestly, I have done this only because I love personal development and because I told myself, well, this can be useful for me, but especially with my kids, for my kids, teaching them a little bit of emotional work and so on, because at school, we already know that they are not doing anything about this. And I end up founding that all the tools that I have found there during the certification are so valuable and so essential to this work for people who wants to lose weight that I end up deciding to quit my medical practice and start doing only this. So I really found this calling to say, no, I can really be much more impact, create much more impact in the world by doing this work, which is more essential, and it really can help us to create a life which is much more powerful and much more, the quality of life is much better. Okay, so let's come back to what we talk about today. So we are overweight because we are overeating, but the question is why we are overeating. We have to go to the root cause of the problem. Okay, so there are especially three reasons why we overeat. The first one is because we are over hunger, which means that this is due to a hormonal imbalance due to our modern lifestyle normally. Okay, I'm going to talk about this a little bit in some minutes. It's because we feel over desire, and this is our brain chemistry. I'm going to explain you right away that our brain gives us much more importance to food than it really does. Okay, or because we are emotional eaters, so we use food to feel better. Okay, so let's start with over hunger. One thing that it's essential if you want to lose weight, you have to really discover the difference, see the difference between physical hunger and emotional hunger. And physical hunger, it's the only hunger that you have to use food to respond to. Okay, and how it is to have physical hunger. To discover that, you have to tap into your body. You are going to feel it in your body. You're going to feel something in your stomach, like your stomach eating itself, or bowel movements or bowel sounds. You can also have mental symptoms like loss of motivation, loss of concentration, or even irritability. Okay, so I'm going to make it very simple. Okay, eat carbohydrates. I can say you can. It's about eating. Every time we eat, I'm going to explain you what happens. Okay, so every time we eat, there's going to be this glucose in our bloodstream. It's the energy that we get from food, and our pancreas, it's going to release a certain amount of insulin. Insulin is a hormone which its work it's to balance the blood sugar, the blood that we have in the sugar that we have in the blood. Okay, so what it really does, it takes the extra energy coming from food, and it's going to be stored in the liver or in the muscles to be used later. This is an important detail. The store energy that we have in the liver or in the muscles has to be used afterwards. Okay, it's not to be there forever. Okay, so basically insulin, it's a fat storage hormone, which means that when we have insulin in the bloodstream, we are storing fat and we cannot access that fat to burn it. So we cannot lose weight when we have insulin in the bloodstream, right? two factors that increase insulin much more than normal. Okay, let's say it like this. If you are eating sugar, flour, or refined food regularly, okay, so if it's once a week, it's not a problem. But if you are doing this every week, every day, this is going to provoke much more intense sensation of hunger all of the time, and dizziness if you are not eating. And what happens when you are feeling hungry all of the time? You're going to eat all of the time. So you are going to snack much more. Okay. And again, if you snack every time you eat something, you're going to keep these insulin levels higher than it would be, which means that you're going to store fat continuously, and you can also access to the fat storage while you are sleeping. Okay, so here you have this photograph where you can see that each time that we eat, the insulin in blue, it's going to increase, and when we are not eating, it's going to be lower in the bloodstream. Okay, and the only moment where we can really, when we have time to access to that fat store, it's when we are fasting, when we are sleeping. Okay, so we are not designed, our body is not designed for eating so much sugar as we do now and to eating regularly. Okay, so we have become sugar burners, which means that we are using our, I'm so sorry. We are using our, I'm sorry, I don't know what's happening here. Okay, that's okay. So we are using sugar as the main fuel to our bodies, okay? And we are eating also regularly, okay? So which means that it's sugar again, okay? So the solution, pay attention to this, become fat adapted. You just have to think about our ancestors. Our bodies were designed as our ancestors. So they were eating once in a while. So every time they eat, a part of what they were eating, though, that energy was stored into fat to be used afterwards when they had no longer access to the food, which is nowadays in our society, there's an abundance of food. So, and what we are doing is eating all the time. Can you say this? So now we have to become little by little fat adapted, which means use our own fat as the main fuel. Okay, so which means stimulating insulin as little as possible. Okay, and how do we do this? Reduction of the consumption of sugar, processed food, flour, and it also includes soda, even if it's light, without sugar and whatever. Okay, soda, it's not good. Okay, avoid snacking also. Okay, and ideally intermittent fasting, which means this window where you are not eating while you are sleeping, try to extend a little bit, start to advance a little bit your dinner, and the breakfast you can also delay it a little bit. So little by little you can extend this window, and the longer the fasting is, the longer you're going, the more you're going to burn. Okay. Over desire, this is the second one, okay? This is very important because if we are focused on eating less, but we are not working, we are not addressing this issue of desire, it's not going to work, okay? So desire comes from pleasure, but where does pleasure comes from? Pleasure comes from our cultural conditioning, our schedules, our celebration. Okay, so it's Christmas time, we are going to be there, gatherings with the family, and a lot of food, and we have to eat. It's normal to eat a lot, it's normal to eat too much, the same with weddings and so on. Okay, all the beliefs around what is normal eating. It's normal to eat bread every day. It's normal to eat pasta. It's the basics, okay? How many times we have heard this, okay? And also how much enjoyment we should get from food, okay? And also from the pleasure of eating itself. And yes, it's true that every time we eat, even if we eat real food, our brain, it's going to release a little amount of dopamine, okay? Dopamine is a neurotransmitter. Here we are talking about the brain chemistry. It's a neurotransmitter that it's going to make us feel motivated, that it's going to make us feel better, protected, and especially pleasure, okay? So what happens today is that with this modern lifestyle where we are eating sugar, flour, processed food, the increase of dopamine, it's 3 times the normal in relation. When we are eating normal food, we are increasing a little bit our dopamine levels, but when we are eating sugar, flour, and so on, we are increasing 3 times, which means that our brain just freaks out about such amount of dopamine, such amount of pleasure, okay? So our brain cannot manage this, and it starts to create this unwarranted urgency for food, which is the over desire. So our brain experiences this over pleasure and just wants to recreate this pleasure over and over. Okay, so we are going to feel it like an urgency. Okay, fortunately, we have in the decision making of do we eat this or that or nothing, okay? There are 2 parts of our brain involved. So we have the primal brain, which is the ancestor brain. It's very basic. It works with a motivational triad of seeking pleasure, avoid danger, and efficiency. Okay. And it's the brain, the part of the brain that we are using 95% of the time. So it's really our default brain or automatic brain. Okay. And then we have the prefrontal cortex, which is the part of the brain which is much more evolved, the part of the brain that help us reflect, that it's perfect, it plans perfectly well, it executes well. It's the part of the brain that we are using only 5% of the time when we are really realizing doing very complex tasks. Okay, so our primal brain, it's really inside the brain, in the inner part, in the amygdala. Okay, and it would be like our toddlers. Okay, so I want it all and I want it now, and I don't mind the consequences. Okay, a little bit like this. And our prefrontal cortex, it's located here, and it would be like the adult. Okay, so the solution to this over desire, it's first of all, again, reduce sugar, flour, processed food. As you can see, it's exactly the same as to reduce our hunger. Okay, so it's very simple and easy. Okay, plan your meals ahead of time. This is very important because this is the way, in fact, that we have found to involve our prefrontal cortex in our daily life. Okay, so when you plan your meals 24 hours before, you are going to make better choices. You ask yourself, okay, how can I make my future self of tomorrow feel great, but at the same time, that doesn't interfere in the weight loss? Okay, so you are going to choose, and once it is chosen, you don't have to change anything. You just have to follow what you have by yourself, choose for you. Okay, this is really the best time saver as well, because a lot of you or my clients in the beginning, it's like, no, I don't have time to plan my meals ahead of time. No, of course you have. It's only 3 minutes per day. And then you will no longer think about what you are going to eat. Do I have this? Do I have the other one? You know, conversely, if you are not planning your meals ahead of time, when you come back to your home and you are tired, stressed because you had a hard day, you don't want to cook and you don't have any idea of what you have in the fridge. And you know what I mean? So it's like, okay, pizza, and that's it. So then be aware of your thoughts, because your thoughts create your feelings, and your feelings are going to drive you to take some actions, and your actions are going to have a result. Okay, I'm going to go deep into this in just a few minutes. Okay, because this is what is important here. And then find pleasure in other areas of your life. So instead of trying to get pleasure from food, try to find pleasure in other areas of your life. This is very important as well. Okay, so you have to focus and create the joy anywhere else, not coming from food. Okay, and the third part, it's emotional eating. Okay, so here I can tell you, I think that 95% or 98% of the people, we are all emotional eaters in different stages, but we are using food to neutralize our emotions, whether they are positive or negative. Okay, so we feel worried, we are afraid, we are stressed, we are frustrated, or we are celebrating, we are very happy all together because somebody is marrying to somebody else, or it's Christmas time or Thanksgiving, whatever. Okay, so yes, food helps us to neutralize our emotions, because food, what it's going to do is increase our positive emotion and reduce our negative emotion. So this is something that it's true. Okay, food also, it's going to provide us with pleasure from the fact of eating on itself. Okay, what I have told you some minutes before about this release of dopamine, and because we have been culturally conditioned. So I remember when I went to my pediatrician to have my vaccination, my pediatrician was offering always something sweet, or if he didn't, my mother for sure was going to buy me something, you know, so always with the best intention. But the problem is that now it's very ingrained in our bodies and our brains, especially. Okay, so the solution is to feel your feelings. It's very important. Open yourself up to feel your negative emotions. We are human bodies with human brains living this human experience in this world. And life here in this world, it's always 50% positive and 50% negative. And I think the problem is that we have been told that we should be all the time happy. And we are always trying not to feel negative emotions. And we are normally using food. Some people are also using alcohol or compulsive shopping or Netflix and so on. So there are a lot of activities that we are doing in order to not feel whatever the negative emotion, boredom, stress, overwhelm, worry, whatever. Okay, so we end up creating much more negative part in this 50-50 by trying to avoid that negative part than by actually open up and feel that. Okay, then learn how to manage your mind. And this is the tool that I told you that I'm going to, and this is the core of my work. And this is the tool that I have learned at the Life Coach School, where I have done my certification. And this is called the model. It has 5 components, and everything in the world has a place here. Okay, so we have from one side the circumstance of things that happens in the world. Then we have our own perception, our thoughts about those circumstances. And those thoughts are going to make us feel in a certain way. And those feelings are going to make us take actions, certain actions, and those actions are going to have a result. I'm going to put an example to make it more clear, okay? So let's say that we are on a diet and we go on the scale and the number on the scale goes up, okay? One of the thoughts that we can have is, I will never lose weight. And this is going to make us feel powerless. And when we feel powerless because we think that we will never be able to lose weight, these are some actions that we can actually, in fact, this is an example of one of my clients. So she was overeating, she was ruminating, second guessing the diet. She stopped to exercise. She started blaming herself and evoking all the times where it hadn't worked. So what she ends up creating, when we look at all those actions, in fact, she was doing everything to gain weight. She was overeating, ruminating, second guessing, blaming herself, which is going directly to bring her to overeat again and again. So we can see that there's always this connection with the result and our thoughts. So the good news here is that circumstance, the number on the scale, we cannot change this, okay? It is a fact. Conversely, we can always choose to think differently, okay? And when we choose to think something different, we are going to feel in another way, and we are going to do other things, okay? And this is going to have an impact on our life, okay? So just be aware of how many times we think that our emotions are coming from the cause of our emotions. In this case, she was telling myself, no, I feel powerless because the number on the scale went up. But that's not true, because if somebody else can have another thought about this number on the scale going up, means that this number on the scale going up can cause her feel powerless. What was really making her feel powerless, what she made that number mean, which was, I will never lose weight. And when she thought I will never lose weight, she felt powerless, and she was starting to do all those things with this negative result. Okay. So this is one of the tools, I would say the tool that I am using, and this is the tool that you can apply to any area of your life. Okay. So why weight loss coaching is the answer. Okay. Because you have tried everything else, and everything it's more of the same, because your thoughts are always the problem. Okay. This is the secret to lasting weight loss. Okay. Once you solve your overhanger, once you solve your over desire, well, even over desire, it's partially caused by your thoughts. Okay. Because if we come back here, for example, let's say that you have work, let's say 16 hours one day, and you're thinking, I deserve a treat. This is going to create this emotion of urge. And normally, if you don't do this work, the action that you're going to take is to eat and eat and eat and eat. Okay. So the result that you end up creating is that you are overeating, which is something that you don't want to. Okay. So thoughts are always the problem, because thoughts are going to create those feelings, and feelings, those actions, and the result. And thoughts are always optional. This is the most important thing. Okay. And even if you do some self-coaching, you can have blind spots. And this is something that I can tell you, I am getting coached each week. And sometimes I bring issues that I have already self-coached myself, not one time, 2-3 times. And I am always, my coach is blowing my mind to see the things that I haven't seen. Okay. And also lasting changes requires to invest time and energy here. Okay. And why I am your weight loss coach? It's because this is the approach of normally other coaches or diets. They are approaching overweight as a symptom. And they say, okay, you have this symptom, you're overweight because you have this problem, which is that you are overeating. Okay. They are not working from the root cause of the problem. Okay. And this ends up being like, for example, treating a broken arm with a painkiller. Okay. You are treating the pain, but the pain, it comes from where? Okay. So you have to treat the broken arm to be really effective on that. Okay. So this is what we call causal coaching, which is why are you overeating, which is the reason why you overeat. Okay. It's because you have overhanger, over desire, emotional eating. I can tell you 95% of my clients have the 3. Okay. But the 3 have a solution, as I told you. Okay. This is the most important. And also causal coaching is going to help you to keep going when you don't want to, which is really the main cause of a diet which is failed. It's when you end up quitting. Okay. And the most important and beautiful of this work is that this is applicable to all areas of your life. And once you work on this, this is going to have an impact directly on all the areas of your life. Okay. So here it's a testimonial.
One of my clients. Hi, my name is Tiffany, and Laura has been my health coach for the last 10 weeks. I came to her, I was tired, I was lethargic, and I had cravings all the time. And I had some really bad habits that I had my whole entire life, like including stress eating and binge eating, probably eating way too much in one setting just because it tastes good. So she was really instrumental in helping me transform. I've lost weight. I feel fit. I feel healthier. But more importantly, she helped me completely change my mindset. So if you're looking for somebody that is going to help you get the results you want, but not only that, but to make them stick, she's going to be the one that's going to be helping you do that. And her personality is just, she's such a joy to work with, and very knowledgeable. I can't recommend her enough. So good luck on your journey.
Okay, so I'm going to present you my program, which is called Rewire. It's Rewire Your Brain and Achieve a Natural and Lasting Weight Loss. It's a 6-month program, high-touch, one-on-one, personalized, totally personalized, where I'm going to teach you how to make this change sustainable, and where we are going to work on 3 dimensions, okay? Because the important thing is to work from the root cause of the problem, but also from a multi-dimensional space, which is mind, body, and emotions, okay? So at the level of the mind, I'm going to teach you how to think as a thin person. And this is very important because lasting weight loss means that we have to change our identity, okay? We cannot think the same thing weighing 50 pounds less, for example, okay? We have to think differently if we want to maintain that weight loss. And that's the main reason why, if we are not thinking, if we are still the same person, we are not going to maintain that weight loss. And this is because most of us think that I'm going to become that person when I lose weight, the weight that I want. But in fact, you have already to become that person. And it's the fact of becoming that person who is going to make you lose all that weight. Okay, so we have to reverse our way of thinking. Okay, also working with your mind, training your mind, it's going to silence your brain chatter. So in the beginning, what you're going to notice is that you have all the volume of your inner chatter. Suddenly it's wow, it's going to say, wow, oh my God, you're going to be much more aware of your thoughts, of the things that you tell to yourself, especially when things are not going well, and the impact of those thoughts that those thoughts have into your life, thanks to that tool of the model. Okay, and also working with your mind is going to create freedom around food, because freedom around food, it's not coming from the weight loss. Okay, it's not that the number on the scale drops and you suddenly feel freedom around food. Not at all. In fact, this is the process, okay? And you can already right now start to create freedom around food. So I'm going to put you an example. If you say, oh, I love cookies, but I can have this. You can, this is one thought, or you can see the same cookie and say, I could have this, but I choose not to. Okay, so notice the difference of the first thought, I can't have this, with the second thought, I can have this, but I choose not to. Okay, so with the second one, we have much more freedom. Okay, so it's about cultivating all these kind of thoughts. Okay, becoming your best friend and your cheerleader. This is very important because most of my clients in the beginning are frustrated because they are not having the support that they were expecting from their husbands or their friends, or for example, they are losing weight and nobody else is remarking this and they suddenly feels like shit. Okay, so it's not really, it's not about them. They can think, they can say, they can do whatever they want. It's just about you. You have to become your best cheerleader. You have to be the one that is always there. And when you don't need anyone else, it's much funny and it's much easier as well. Okay. So, but for becoming your best cheerleader, you have to become your best friend. So you have to change your relationship with yourself. So again, relationship with yourself are the thoughts that you have about yourself. Okay. And then, as I told you, working with your mindset is going to help you keep going when you don't want to. Okay. At the level of the body, also, I'm going to help you create a sustainable protocol. A protocol is a specific way of eating, okay, which is sustainable in a long term, which is not about restriction, okay, at all. And that includes the food that you like. This is also very important because this is how it's going to make it sustainable, okay? I'm going to teach you how to really enjoy food that you eat, okay? And how to eat in a healthiest and energetic way for you. So depending on your specific situation, if you have any symptoms, if you have, for example, some problems to sleep, this can also have an impact on your weight loss, for example. Okay, so we can adapt and change the way and the things that we are eating. We can add some things or take out some things or change the habits. Okay, so all of this, I am also going to talk to you, tell you how to do it. And then emotions as well. So learn how to feel your feelings and stop relying on food. Okay, this is very important. You know, emotions, it's something that we have never been taught at school, but this is one of the most important things that we have, because everything that we do, it's because we are feeling in a certain way or because we want to feel in a certain way. Okay, so really open up to feel our emotions, even the negative part, and you are going to see it's not such a big deal to really feel the discomfort of opening yourself up to feel the sadness or to feel the urge that you are not going to respond by eating, for example. Okay, so it's really a beautiful work. Feel good about yourself while you are losing weight for the last time. This is also very important. You don't have to wait until get there to feel good about yourself. Again, you have to feel good about yourself, and it's the fact of feeling good about yourself that it's going to bring you there and maintain it. Okay, so if you approach this weight loss journey from a place of self-loathing because I hate my body, you are not going to get there, or it's going to be very, very difficult. Okay, so I'm going to teach you how to go from I hate my body to I love my body, even if now seems impossible for you. Okay, this is available to everybody. Okay, and then create the joy in your life so that you don't need to get it from food. This is also very important. Okay, so what's inside Rewire? It's a 6-month program, and there are 20 coaching calls of 60 minutes. So normally there are one coaching call per week until the last 2 months, where there's 2 per month. Okay. Or for example, if there are some holidays, this is flexible. Okay. What it's include also, it's a summarize of each session. So 24 hours, in the next 24 hours following the session, you're going to receive an email where I summarize the session and I point out the most important things. Really, this is very useful because sometimes we say, yeah, when Laura taught me about emotions that day, she told something, I would like to go back and see. You can also have the access to the coaching sessions and the recordings, but it's going to be much more sensitized and much more clear when you go to the email, and you're going to get there faster. Okay, so this is also very, very useful. There are weekly worksheets for inner work. So every week we are going to work on specific topics, and there's always some exercise to go deeper. Okay, this is really a work where we go deeper. We go to your belief systems. We uncover your belief systems. We are going to question them. We are going to learn how to let them go and so on. So it's really a deep work. Okay. There's also a daily accountability during 6 months. That means that the things that you are going to plan, the meals that you're going to plan ahead of time, and how you are honoring that plan. This is something that you normally are going to send me every day. Okay, just a screenshot, and we can have a discussion. Okay, there's also support 24/7 by message or Voxer, and there's also a welcome box. So the price for Rewire, it's $6,000 that you can pay one time, but there's also paying plans available. Or if you are in the Europe zone, it's also possible to make the conversion into euros. Okay. So this is the gift that I have for you. You can book a free consultation. It's 1 hour time, okay, where we are going to discuss about your main struggle, and I'm going to design a plan for you. So the first step to take. This is not an engaging call, okay, so which means that you are not obligated at all to join my program afterwards. What I suggest always, it's okay, we discuss once about your main struggle. I designed this plan. If it works for you and we are a good fit, we can discuss about working in a long term in the 6-month program. So here is the link where you can book this consultation. And